Do you think we could adjust our deal? I'd love to spend another day with you, he said, shocking me to the core. What? This was not possible. Please. My heart melted instantly. For the first time in my life, I was being begged to stay, not leave. I buried my face in his chest as I responded. I'd love to. But like everyone else, he lied to me. Like everyone else, I was deceived. By morning, he was gone. I woke up and couldn't find him in bed. There was no note, no trace that he had even been with me aside from the act between my legs. And to make it worse, someone showed up at the door, asking me to leave. The man I came with last night, do you think he'd come back? I asked the man, my heart racing in my chest. No, I was his idea to get you to leave. He said he doesn't want to see you anywhere near this proper plain instant, the man said and left. And just like that, my heart was shattered all over. But surprisingly, it hurt more than when I had. Lyric's POV. TM, sorry, ma'am, but I'm here to pick someone. I can't give you a free ride if that's what you're asking. I struggled to hold back my laughter as I listened to Rufus, one of my father's oldest guards, say, his eyes darting past my shoulder, looking out for the person he had been assigned to pick from the airport. I know, you have been sent to pick Lyric Harper, right? It's me, Rufus. His eyes narrowed with suspicion. You still haven't told me how you know my name, and how can you be Lyric? It's not possible. He shook his head. Lyric is ugly. I finished for him, a broad smile on my face. He frowned as he shook his head. Back then, Rufus was the only one that had never been able to call me ugly. He was among the very few that had cared about my feelings, and even now, to a stranger, he still couldn't call me ugly. I laughed. Well, would it help if I reminded you that your favorite soup was butternut squash, and you and little Lyric used to play chutes and ladders? Recognition beamed in his eyes. His jaw dropped in astonishment. Seraphiz, have mercy. Lyric, it's really you. He opened his arms, and I didn't hesitate to fall in for a warm hug. Back then, Rufus and I barely had time together, but he always made the few times we met worth it. He was the closest thing I had to a parent. How is this possible? He inquired after asking how I was. Your face. My goodness, you look gorgeous. You've only been gone for 5 years and I can't believe this. It's a long story, Rufus. But for now, let's just say fate's decided to smile on me. Oh, Lyric, you do not know how happy I am to see you. I am sure your father must be delighted seeing you're not beautiful anymore. I laughed at his attempt to not use the word ugly on me. Well, as for my father, I rolled my eyes in my head. I felt a little sad that I was forced to return here after 5 years because of him. My life was perfect in Draconis. Here, I'll take this to the car, Rufus said, taking my luggage. You do that and I'll meet you in the car. I need to pick up an extra luggage. Don't worry, I'll be quick. I turned around and had barely taken 3 separate Rufus called my attention. You dropped something. Looking at the floor, I found the scanned image. My heart jumped into my throat as I quickly crouched to retrieve it. Rufus watched with me with surprise. Obviously, he had seen the X-ray and would be wondering why the hell something of that nature had been in my back pocket. Oh, Lyric, you couldn't be a little careful. It's not mine. I cleared my throat, hoping my lie was plausible. I mean, who carried X-ray photos of fetuses in their back pocket? Tucking it back into the pocket, I hurried away. I had my hands crossed over my chest as I waited at the collecting center. My extra luggage would be brought to me any moment. As I waited idly, disturbing thoughts ran through my mind. Father wanted me home for 2 reasons. The first was to completely cut ties with Roderick. In our world, when 2 wolves were getting mated, they tied a ribbon as a sign of their union and have it stored in a temple. So, when they wanted to part ways, there were 2 steps involved. First, they'd have to denounce themselves as mates with the words of their mouths, and secondly, cut the ribbon together. After Roderick denounced me as his mate, we didn't get the chance to see each other again. Circumstances happened that pulled me away, but now he was desperate to finish the final steps. Apparently, he'd chosen a new mate but couldn't accept her when he was still partially bound to me. Well, I'd been looking forward to the day when I get to end things with the asshole. He was my past, and the stupid ribbon was the final thing holding us together. "Excuse me, Miss, I'd like a moment of your time, please," someone said behind me. I turned to see a well-built man in a black suit and dark shades over his eyes. I didn't need anyone to tell me he was a guard. "Can I help you?" I furrowed my brows. "Kind of. The alpha over there demands an audience with you." I looked to where he pointed a minibar, but couldn't see the man he was referring to. His face was shielded by a counter. I fought the urge to roll my eyes. These days, it was tiring. It was obvious there would never be a day where I'd step out without garnering attention from the opposite gender. "I'm in a hurry, tell him I'm sorry," I responded. The guard's jaw tightened. "You can't ignore him." I read the unspoken words from his tone. He's a powerful alpha. You can't simply ignore his request. But I really wasn't interested in meeting anyone. "I'm sorry, I really am." I looked away. It was disrespectful to ignore an alpha's call. In a world where ranks mattered, he could be one of the powerful ones and could punish me severally, but I really wasn't in the mood to talk to anyone. "It's Alpha Roderick of Nightshade," the guard added as if to entice me, but he had no idea he had just reopened old wounds. My eyes moved to him, then quickly flicked to the bar where the man was seated. Roderick, as in my ex-mate Roderick, the one I was here to end things with, no way. My chest tightened with pain, and it was all I could do to keep my emotions intact. "More reason not to see him," I mumbled, turning away. "Did you say something?" "I said I am not seeing him." I gritted the words, my nails digging into my palms. The guard gave me a disapproving stare before walking away, and I released a shaky breath. Now, where the hell was my luggage? I met one of the workers and demanded for an update, and he assured me it'd be here any minute. Unfortunately, they were not fast enough as shortly I saw Roderick approaching me. Roderick Fletcher. The one man I'd hoped would love me but never did. The mind was a bitch. I thought I was over Roderick's betrayal and wouldn't feel a thing when I met him. But watching him as he approached me, looking like he was the one in charge, made my eyes rim with tears. I sniffled and looked away, forcing the tears back in. "So I had to come over to speak to you myself." He leaned against the counter beside me. "How daring." My throat was tight, unable to find any words. I feared there would be a crack in my voice if I managed to speak. 3 guards hovered beside him, their eyes darting around. Roderick looked sophisticated, like he'd obviously been having a good life. What was he even doing here? Was he picking someone? "What's the name?" He tilted his head as he asked. I said nothing, won't even look at him. "Hello." "I don't feel like disclosing my name to strangers," I finally managed. My voice was tight. His eyes beamed with amusement, and here was a man who never smiled at me when we were together for 1 year. "Let's just say I'm overly excited today," he sighed. "I'm here waiting for a certain bitch to arrive." When I gave him a puzzled look, he added, "Ex-mate, we are through with the first step and just have the tiny little step to go. I'd finally be free of her." I scoffed. He was unbelievable. "I'd have done this sooner, you know, but the horrid girl has been missing for years, stressed us the hell out to find her." He spoke with raw disdain. "What makes you call her horrid?" I found myself asking before I could stop. He chuckled. "Trust me, honey, she's a monster. If you see her, you'd have the same opinion. She's the ugliest thing I've ever seen." Something hot exploded in my chest. It was all I could do not to let my emotions rush out. No, this was not the right place. But Roderick was the true monster. He had no idea he was standing before the very woman he despised. What would Prouty do if he gets to know? It made sense why he was waiting at the airport. He clearly wanted to drag me to the temple to cut the ribbon. Well, I wouldn't let him humiliate me in public. Not again. Fortunately, my luggage finally arrived. "Sorry for the delay, ma'am," the young man said as he rolled it to me. Not looking at Roderick, I made to leave. That must have surprised him. "I'd love to speak to you some other time. Your contact, if you don't mind." For a moment, I stood with my back to him, contemplating my words. I turned around when I found the most polite one I could give. "Even if I have to give up my number to save myself from you, I wouldn't do it. Alpha." When my words sank in, surprise danced in her eyes, followed by a hint of hurt. Something blossomed in my chest. It was pride.